He's just a spoilt brat, isn't he? And he says that the king doesn't talk to him over this. Well, who can blame the king? That's just absolute nonsense. Absolute nonsense. I mean, the man is losing his mind, if you ask me.
He's doing the rounds saying, please pick up your phones. No one's talking to me. He looks just like Thomas Markle.
He's just a spoiled brat, isn't he? And he says that the king doesn't talk to him over this. Well, who can blame the king? That's just absolute nonsense. Absolute nonsense. I mean, the man is losing his mind if you ask me. He's doing the rounds saying, please pick up your phones. No one's talking to me. He looks just like Thomas Markle. What if I told you that we just witnessed the complete and total destruction of a prince? Not in some medieval battlefield or palace coup, but through a devastating legal defeat that exposed Prince Harry as a man who's completely lost touch with reality. On May 2nd, 2025, 3 Court of Appeal judges delivered their final verdict on Harry's desperate 5-year battle for taxpayer-funded police protection. And what happened next was nothing short of a public psychological breakdown broadcast to the world. This isn't just another royal family squabble or tabloid drama. This is the moment when the last bridge between Prince Harry and the House of Windsor was burned to ash and Harry himself lit the match. The court's decision wasn't just a legal defeat. It was a complete demolition of Harry's victim narrative. 3 senior judges essentially told him that his sense of grievance doesn't constitute a legal argument, and that his claims of unfair treatment were baseless. But instead of accepting this reality, Harry doubled down with an explosive BBC interview that revealed just how far he's fallen from grace. Tonight, we're exposing how a 40-year-old man sitting in his California mansion just declared permanent war on the crown itself, and why there's absolutely no coming back from what he just did. Prince Harry has spoken candidly about the breakdown of his relationship with his father and other members of the royal family. To understand the magnitude of Harry's fall, we need to go back to February 2020 when Prince Harry was still living in a world where being born royal meant automatic protection, unlimited access, and the kind of security that money simply can't buy. This wasn't just about having bodyguards. This was about having the full weight of the British state apparatus protecting you wherever you went, whenever you wanted, and for the rest of your life. Harry's security detail wasn't just comprehensive. It was legendary. We're talking about armed police protection that cost British taxpayers millions annually, advanced teams that would sweep locations days before his arrival, and a level of coordination between MI5, Scotland Yard, and international security services that only a handful of people on the earth ever received. When Prince Harry traveled, entire city blocks would be secured, air traffic would be rerouted, and emergency protocols would be activated that treated him like the strategic national asset he was. But this wasn't just about physical protection. It was about status, power, and the unspoken understanding that being a senior working royal meant you were untouchable. Harry could attend any event, travel to any country, and meet with any world leader, knowing that the British government would move heaven and earth to ensure his safety. This was the ordinary world he inhabited, one where his royal blood was his ultimate insurance policy. You know, I love my country. I always have done. Despite what some people in that country have done, the security arrangements weren't just about Harry. They were about maintaining the dignity and safety of the monarchy itself. Every royal appearance was a carefully orchestrated display of British soft power, and the security apparatus that was designed to ensure that nothing could ever threaten that image. Harry's protection detail was a symbol of the crown's reach and influence, a visible reminder that attacking a member of the royal family meant taking on the entire British establishment. Whether I have an official role or not is irrelevant to the threats, risks, and impact. This was a world where Harry never had to worry about booking flights, arranging accommodations, or even thinking about his personal safety. Everything was handled by a team of professionals whose sole job was to ensure that his royal duties could be carried out without the slightest hint or risk of inconvenience. It was a level of privilege so complete, so all-encompassing that Harry had never known any other way of life. But in February 2020, when Harry and Meghan announced their decision to step back from senior royal duties, they fundamentally misunderstood what they were giving up. They thought they could have it both ways. Keep the royal perks while abandoning the royal responsibilities. They believed they could maintain their security, their status, and their access while building their own independent brand in California. What Harry didn't realize was that royal protection wasn't a birthright. It was a job benefit. And when you quit the job, you lose the benefits. The Ravitt Committee, which oversees the security of public figures, made the decision that would change Harry's life forever. His automatic taxpayer-funded protection would be stripped, and any future security would be evaluated on a case-by-case basis depending on specific threats and circumstances. This was the moment when Harry's ordinary world, the world of automatic privilege and unquestioned entitlement, came crashing down. For the first time in his life, Prince Harry would have to live like everyone else, responsible for his own safety, his own security arrangements, and his own protection costs. The golden cage had been opened, but Harry was about to discover that life outside the palace walls was far more dangerous and expensive than he had ever imagined. The decision has been a surprise as well as not a surprise. So yeah, for the time being, it's impossible for me to take my family back to the UK. May 2nd, 2025 will go down in royal history as the day Prince Harry's delusions finally collided with legal reality. The Court of Appeals didn't just reject his final appeal. They obliterated it with a precision that left no room for interpretation or future challenges. Lord Justice Bean, Lady Justice McCurr, and Lord Justice Singh delivered a unanimous verdict that essentially told Harry his 5-year legal crusade was built on nothing more than wounded pride and misplaced entitlement. The judges didn't mince words. They ruled that Harry's sense of grievance over his security arrangements didn't constitute grounds for judicial review, that his claims of procedural unfairness were without merit, and that the Ravitt Committee had acted entirely within their authority when they stripped his automatic protection. But what made this defeat so devastating wasn't just the legal language. It was the complete dismantling of every argument Harry's expensive legal team had constructed over half a decade. That's just absolute nonsense. Absolute nonsense. I mean, the man is losing his mind if you ask me. This wasn't a closed decision that could be appealed or challenged on technical grounds. This was a comprehensive judicial demolition that left Harry with absolutely no legal recourse. The court found that the government's decision-making process was rational and proportionate, that Harry had been given adequate opportunity to present his case, and that his reduced threat level justified the security downgrade. In legal terms, this was as decisive as it gets. But here's where the story takes a truly bizarre turn. Instead of accepting this definitive legal defeat with grace, Harry immediately pivoted to conspiracy theories that would make even the most dedicated royal watchers cringe. Within hours of the verdict, he was on the phone with the BBC, spinning a narrative so detached from reality that it revealed just how completely he'd lost his grip on the situation. The timing of his media blitz was particularly telling. Most people who lose a major court case retreat to lick their wounds, consult with their lawyers, and consider their options privately. But Harry, he went straight to the cameras with claims that the royal household had somehow infiltrated the security committee, that his family was deliberately putting his life at risk, and that the entire British establishment was conspiring against him. What makes this moment so significant isn't just that Harry lost his case. It's that he revealed the true extent of his paranoia and victimhood complex. His immediate response to a legitimate legal defeat was to claim the system was rigged, the judges were compromised, and his own family was trying to harm him. This wasn't the reaction of someone who understood they'd been treated fairly by the courts. This was the response of someone who genuinely believed the world was conspiring against him. The court documents themselves tell a damning story. Harry's legal team had argued that the Ravitt Committee failed to properly consider his unique circumstances and that the decision to remove his protection was influenced by improper considerations. But the judges found that Harry had been treated exactly like any other individual in similar circumstances, that his royal status had actually afforded him more consideration than most, and that the security assessment was based purely on objective threat analysis. Perhaps most embarrassing for Harry was the court's finding that he had been given multiple opportunities to present evidence of specific threats, but had failed to provide any credible intelligence that would justify taxpayer-funded protection. The judges essentially ruled that Harry's fears were based on speculation rather than actual security assessments, and that his demand for permanent protection was unreasonable given his non-working royal status. Where is the duty of care? Because, as I said, life is precious, and it is very clear that from 2020, because I was no longer allowed an official role, and because I decided to remove myself eventually from the institution, that my life got devalued.